Hello, folks, and welcome in this month's plot tour. Don't expect any major change yet. We're still obviously early in the season, but I've got some things to show you. So we'll start here at the allotment first, and then I'll take you to the greenhouse afterwards. I thought I would take you outside for a start. So first thing first, as you can see, the hairy microphone is out today. It's not particularly windy, but it's the work that's happening over there. It's incredibly noisy today. And I've realized the last video I've done in here, actually, so there's two color on the microphone. There's blue and green. The green is the noise cancellation, and I thought that was blue, the noise cancellation. So it just wasn't great. It was quite noisy. I'm really sorry about that, folks. Fortunately, I tried my best to adjust this, but it's just so much I could change. So I suppose we could start on here with the most recent job, really. The raspberry canes that had been planted. So 5 on this side and 5 over there. They are just planted in the ground just now. They will be, so see those stakes there? I've got a load of them there at the back, so I'll be making a bit of a frame to support them. Just know they'll be fine. There's no weight on them, but I know that there will be some weight as the season progresses, so I'll make sure to have a frame just to support them. Another job that took place last week is the edging here. So now that this edging is finally in place, I'll try to give you a bit of a different angle actually. There we go. So now that this edging is here, so as you can see, I increased slightly the growing space. It's about 2 feet actually, so it's quite a good extra chunk to grow. All this space obviously pretty much to the back of those slabs right there. All the space in here will be the seating area. So yeah, we're quite excited to start this. I was hoping that we would be able to start well this week actually, but unfortunately there's so much going on. I don't think I will be able to. It's probably even going to be my only day at the allotment this week. I've got some celebration later on in the week, and then obviously works in the way. So yeah, it's probably going to be, hopefully going to be next week. It just depends on the weather. I think I've mentioned that in the last video. Some of the soil that will be pulled out of there to create the pond or the water feature, if I can say, will be used to part fill some of those planters. So yeah, that's something that's kind of urgent to tackle. Talking about things that are urgent to tackle, this is part of the urgency now. So if you remember, this is bags filled up with rubble, which was pulled out of here. This needs to go fairly soon because obviously the first piece will be coming here in about, give or take, 5-6 weeks. But also it's not an overly nice sight when you're passing the plot. You know, that's not what we want people to see in here. So this is definitely going to be on the top priority of the job list for the coming weeks. Unfortunately, we can access with the car just now, so yeah, means that we've got to drag it all the way down. Although there's a van just now with the guys picking up glass and all that stuff, we've got to take it all the way down and then in the car park. So it's a bit of a pain. Overall in here, so you've got the first 2 rows here are the garlic, which are doing quite well. And since we've had decent frost, they hopefully should split quite nicely as well. The onions, I'm not gonna lie, there's a bit of damage. There's a bit of damage. It started really well. They all came out really nicely. Unfortunately, magpie, which are staying up there pretty much all the time, have spotted them and started pulling them out. I've planted them back as much as I could. Obviously, at times I couldn't do it. But this and the amount of rain that we've had, quite a lot of the bulbs started rotting in the ground. And then some of them have been nibbled. Not exactly sure what nibbled them, but they've been nibbled. So it's not bad. But out of top of my head, I think it's about 200 and a bit. Well, let's say 200. There's, you know, probably about 60% left. So it's not bad, but I'm expecting to lose some more over the coming weeks. So, it's not as good as I expected, but it's going well. Anyway, it's definitely going in the right direction despite the loss. So it's fine. I'm still really happy with that. As I've mentioned in the last vlog, I'm not going to bother with this just now. This will be planted soon, and in due time, this will be lifted. It's not great. It's on the great side, but it's not bad either. It's pretty much wasted time to try to turn this over. So it will stay as it is just now. Try to take you down. There is a few, certainly not as many as I would have hoped, a few spring onions which are struggling immensely to grow. My hope was to keep this because I don't really need that space until much later. So in this section, let's say that space here, all this, it will be the courgette. So I've got plenty of time before the courgettes are out in the ground. So I could potentially just leave them in the ground. So that whole section here, see that line here? That's where I've sown kohlrabi. I'm still not quite sure what I've done wrong with them because my understanding was you could plant them in early to mid autumn and there should be give or take about 60 days to harvest. I've had a couple that came, but that's pretty much it. It's not even been slugged or damaged by pests or anything like that. I don't know if it's because the soil is poor in nutrient or if I genuinely put them too late. We've had a bit of frost, but it cannot be that because I was so late. So if you know, please let me know in the comment. I would love to know if you have an explanation for the reason why the kohlrabi never grew. Because I'm planning to do some again this year. That's the first time. Well, obviously, gonna be my second attempt, but that's the first time I'm doing some kohlrabi. So I would love this time to be successful. And in that last section, we've got the leeks, which are still very, very small. I would have hoped for them to be a bit bigger at this point. I think I'm just gonna give them a chance to go through. I've waited so long for those ones to grow that I don't really want to get rid of them. So what I'll do is in a couple of weeks, hopefully avoiding frost, I will pull them out and plant them in buckets. So although there's not a huge amount that's changed from last month in terms of the growing, because it's winter and we expect that in winter things are not going to be suddenly shooting up, especially because it's our first really winter. We've not even done a full season yet. So I'm hoping that next winter, well, we will have some of the winter crops that will be, or either winter crops or other winter crops to care for, which we done this year really. I'll take you over to the garden. Well, we've got a few stuff to see in the greenhouse. Obviously, this one is slightly heated and also is a bit better attended because it's literally just outside my kitchen door. So it's a lot easier to get there every single day. So I'll show you the progress on that side. And yeah, we'll do a bit of a recap from the garden at home. See you there. Here in the garden, as I've mentioned, there's a bit more progress. Don't expect anything major. This is pretty much what's the most advanced just now. We'll get to it in a sec. But it's definitely moving in the right direction. Not for everything. And I must say, I'll be completely honest. I've messed up a bit on the pepper. That's my own fault. Yesterday, I couldn't come to the greenhouse. The thing is, my pepper are still on the heat mat because we still have some fairly cold nights, close to zero. So I don't want to take them off the heat mat too quickly, but I might have to raise them slightly higher so it doesn't catch so much heat. Because yesterday, as I said, I couldn't make it to the greenhouse. I didn't manage to water them. The thing is, the compost, especially on the heat mat, dries really, really quickly. Um, and I pretty much had to water, not an awful lot. I used that sprayer like that, just a few drops, just enough to keep it moist. And I've managed to do it every single day. Yesterday I have not done it, and I'll show you right away. I've got three that are not overly happy with me today. So they most likely will be able to recover. I'm gonna start bottom watering anyway, so that's gonna be a bit better. I'm gonna have a bit of a reserve of water in there rather than just spraying over the top. But it just shows you. But overall, I'm still quite happy. I've got four of them. To be fair, I don't want to put more than two or three of the pop tea. And here I'm gonna have another two different types of tangerine um, and beauty. I keep forgetting the name of that one. Red cherry and tangerine dream, exactly. And I'm gonna have a couple of those plants as well. So I think two of the pop tea, two of each would be more than enough to do my season anyway. So the rest will be going at the allotment. So if I've got to lose some, that's fine. I'd rather not, but if I have to lose some, that's fine. So the rocket germination's been really good. Obviously, they're taking their time as well. I took them off the heat as soon as they started germinating, and yeah, they're all doing really well. Been watered this morning, and they're still actually soaking. But they're doing well. They still don't have their first true leaves on, but it's not going to take long. Now that the days are getting longer, they are actually doing quite well. I'm keeping an eye on them because I feel like some of them are quite tempted, getting a bit leggy. And if that's the case, I'll get the light set up. I will definitely need to do it anyway for the pepper. The other one that's doing quite well is the leeks. So I've got a couple of trays. Remember, we had two trays, and that's the one we used for the test. Um, so just so you can see the difference between the two. So this one was the one that was left off the heat, and this one that was used on the heat mat. Again, that was just 36 hour on the heat mat. That just gave it a boost, a really good boost. So yeah, fairly happy with that. Definitely plenty of leaks, plenty of time as well before we transplant them. So all good, very good progress on that side. For the Bedfordshire Champion onions, I decided about a week and a half ago to put them on the heat mat. I've never grown onions from seeds. I've always used sets. I believe, from what I've looked, they should be quite quick to germinate and they're not overly fussy. But I had literally no germination whatsoever, and this is from, well, not long after Boxing Day, so just before New Year. And I had no germination whatsoever, so I thought I'm gonna put them up there. Now, for the disclaimer, the Bedfordshire Champion seeds are not new seeds. They have been left in here for pretty much the whole year. I forgot about them actually. I was going to do them last year and I forgot, and they've been left in here for the whole year. So they probably got damp, so they are not in the best condition, but I had no germination at all, so I decided to put them up there. I didn't have space to put the red onions, which I had no germination either. But now I see that, again, very, very small. But the red onions, as you can see here, and perhaps in this one, actually there's a few more, but they start germinating and they're off the heat. But still the other one, nothing at all, not a soul on them. So I don't know if I'm doing something wrong. If it's because the seeds are too old or if it's just me not having the patience. If you have an answer for me, please let me know in the comment. I would love to know what's going on in here. Same as the kohlrabi. The sweet peas, I'm fairly disappointed. So I usually do them. I've done them really late this year, I must admit. I usually get them done round about late October. Up until probably 2 or 3 days ago, I had not a single sign of germination. And suddenly I've got them poking through. So I've got one that you can see here at the back. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So yeah, they start popping through. It feels like it's taking a lot longer than it usually does. Maybe it's just me being very impatient. I'm not sure. The purple sprouting broccoli in here, although they are not huge, they could be a lot better if I had been a bit more careful with the planting, the feeding, putting them in proper soil as well. But they are actually doing quite well, as you can see. There's definitely some florets on them. Definitely something that will be harvested kind of soon to try to give them a wee boost. I'm hoping to give them another 3 weeks, 2 or 3 weeks before I start harvesting them. Obviously, a February plot tour wouldn't be complete without potatoes. I've decided to do mine this year in 30-liter buckets, just like this one. I used to grow them in those plastic grow bag. But my main issue with those plastic grow bag is they don't really last. I mean, you're lucky if you get a season out of them, but they certainly won't last more than 2 seasons. And it just fray into microplastic, which I don't like, first of all, but also it makes a mess. You lift it up, it breaks up, and it's so much waste that goes. Those buckets, I believe that they will last a good amount of years. The drainage is just simply amazing. You've got massive holes at the side, and then you've got holes on the other side, everywhere. So drainage is perfect with those ones. They're a bit pricey. I believe I paid, and I was on the deal. I believe it was about £3 per bucket, but well worth it. So I bought 20 this year, which, if my calculations are correct, should just do me for the year. What's the rotation that I've got in place? So I am doing Swift, and before you ask, yes, they are lacking light, so that's why they are yellow, white like this. I think it's a bit of a controversial thing, is how do you cheat? Do you cheat your potatoes? How do you cheat them? So what I tend to do, and it worked really well for me, is I put them in those egg cartons because they can hold quite well, and I can transport them around. I can shake them and they don't move. I put them in my garage for give or take about 2 weeks just to get them started. Then once they start having the shoots coming through, then I take them in the light. I'll put them here in the greenhouse underneath. They will have plenty of light in here, and no direct sunlight, but they will have plenty of light. And trust me, they will turn the color that they have to turn it, or green, or more of a darker red or something like that, depending on the variety. But they will turn in no time. They will not be like all white and leggy. Once I put them to shade, I don't take any eyes off. I leave everything on, and as you can see, there's way too many. I just genuinely want to keep, you got this one off. I genuinely want to keep 2, maybe 3 on each at most. So that's literally what I'm going to do, is I'm going to take them and scrape this off, and that's it. I'm going to keep those 2 there. I'll go over all of them. It's not going to be done today, but I'll do that at some point. It's an easy one to do. So I've got Swift.
Those egg cartons, because they can hold quite well.
The first one I've got here is Swift. So I will be planting, I should have mentioned, about 3 or 4 per 30-liter buckets. The first one I've got here is Swift. So I've got 2 first early that I'm doing this year. Swift is the first early. Those ones will be like super fast, about 60 days or so, or 60, 70 days, and before they get harvested. So those ones will be like the first earlies that I will plant along my first early, but they will be harvested probably about 3 weeks before. The other one I'm doing as my first early, and again, same thing, the shoots are coming very nicely, but they still need to be cleared and there's shoots everywhere. So this will be done very soon. The first early I'm doing, the main first early I would say, is Casablanca. I like those ones because they are, well, Swift is because they're quick. So it's almost like an entire crop, if it makes sense. So I will do a Swift as well as an early main crop. So I will have an early crop, then my first early, then my second early, which are Maris Piper. I will chit them in the next couple of days. They've not been put out yet. Then I will have my Swift as an early main crop. Then I will have Maris Piper as a main crop. And then in the back of the season, I'm hoping to still be able to fit another late crop, like early late crop of Swift. I'm getting lost myself. An early late crop of Swift. And then my late crop of, I think I will go for Maris Piper again this year. I generally go for Maris Piper all year long. It's just the first early I quite like the Casablanca. I don't know, for some reason. I like King Edwards as well. You know, it's just, that's decided on Casablanca this year. So, there you go. Say hello, Drama. So many of you have asked you to see the noisy cat that's in the background of my videos most of the time. So there she is. So as Drama, oh god, I'm lost. How old are you now? 11, 12? Oh, something like that. Pure breed Bengal. Lovely cat, but a bit stupid. A bit stupid. So let her go and grab some food just now. Flood tour in February is certainly is not the most interesting. It's not action packed. There's not hundreds of stuff growing, that's for sure. But we have actually made fairly good progress, and it's very interesting to go back over it. The same when I've done the January plot tour, I wasn't prepared at all, and I thought, what am I going to talk about? And then when I started filming and thinking, oh, I've done this, I've done that, and well, Tony, we've done this, Tony managed to do this, oh, well done this, and it added up to actually quite a fair amount of work. And you don't realize, obviously, because it's bits by bits. You know, I'm not spending, no, every so often I spend like a whole day at the allotment, but realistically, it's more like 2 hours there, 3 hours there. But it just add up to so much. And it's a bit the same this month, between mid-January and mid-February. We've actually been quite active. We've got the first sowing started. We've got areas that are now clearly defined. We've got some raspberry canes that are planted, and we've got a proper fruit area now, which I can't wait to see what it's going to look like in the summer. Obviously, the fruit trees will take a few years before producing properly, but at least the canes, the raspberries should be coming this year. It's just, no, it's great to see that it's actually moving in the right direction, and we've had a fairly miserable January, obviously with the storm as well that's been hitting us. That clearly didn't help, but it's been really wet, although it's not been as cold as we could have expected it to be. We still had some really hard frost, not long period of frost, but we've had some really hard frost, which is fine. It's expected, but the amount of rain, the sheer amount of rain that we've had, is just enough to ruin like months of effort. And unfortunately, in part, I think that's what happened with the onions. If you have any idea for, obviously, my onions, the late to poor germination of my onions, and mostly the kohlrabi, I would love to find out. So if you can point me in the right direction, or if you can just comment and tell me what I'm doing wrong, I would just love to know, so I can start the season a bit better and hopefully not give up on the idea of growing onions from seeds as well, because it feels so much easier from sets. But I keep hearing that they are so much better when you grow them from seeds. So yeah, just let me know in the comment. That would really be appreciated. In the meantime, folks, thank you for joining in. As usual, you know, I will always ask you this one. If you're not a subscriber yet, I would really appreciate that you consider subscribing. If you do decide to subscribe, or if you are a subscriber, make sure to tick the bell as well to make sure that you get notified when the next video is coming. And if you liked this video, I would really appreciate a thumb up. That really helps the channel and help the video being pushed and recommend it to other people. I will finish this video by saying thank you very much. So the last video where I'm, well, not the last video, that was the vlog, but the previous video where I'm talking a bit about myself and so on. And I put you to the challenge to suggest one crop that I should be doing this year. So the winner, don't know if you saw the comments on that video or the wee post that I've put up yesterday. So the winner is Jerusalem artichoke. So I'm actually really excited because it's something that I've discovered a couple of years ago in one of the community garden where I lend a hand every so often. And I had no idea this existed. I literally had never heard of it. I tried it. It was really nice, actually really nice, but I never got to the point where I was like, yeah, I'm going to grow this at the allotment. But really, I should be growing that at the allotment simply because it's quite a nice crop. It's easy to save some tubers for the following year as well. So literally, you buy it once, you have it pretty much forever. So it's an interesting one as well. But also, the flowers are quite attractive, but also it's a really, really good windbreaker. And I think that would really be beneficial. Now that obviously I was thinking, where could I put it? And just straight away I was like, oh, I know where I'm going to put it. And it's going to create a bit of a windbreak to protect some of the more tender, the more fragile crops. So that was a great suggestion. Loved every single suggestion I got. Not sure about the bananas or the brambles though, guys. It wasn't the best idea, but definitely loved the other suggestion. So thank you for tuning in today, guys. I hope you have a good one, and I'll see you next time. Bye.